If you're going to do this, can we at least get Heather singing this as well?
Yeah.
Apparently, we still have a little bit of the holiday spirit. It's 97.1, Jim Costa, John Jansen.
Happy New Year.
Greg behind the glass. Happy New Year. We're going to get in. Yep. Thank you for that. We'll get into Boras, who's back at it again, and the latest with Tarik Skubal. But first, Brent in St. Clair Shores wrapping up our football chat. You're on 97.1.
Morning, boys. Hey, John, I got a question for you. When they drafted Frazier, was he not projected to be a tackle, or is he now more looking like a guard? Because I know he stepped in last year with a little bit of guard when we had some guys go down.
He's a guard.
I've lost complete faith in Manu to play on the tackle, to play the tackle position. So I guess then if Frazier's projecting as a guard, you're going to have to, do Linderbaum. I saw a report yesterday that Petzing might have the ability to convince Arizona's center, who was at the top end of centers last year, to sign here. I think we pie in the sky want Linderbaum, right? He's kind of like who you aim for, and then you got to draft a tackle. I think Penei would do just fine on the left side. I think he's amazing on the right, but I think he'd almost be better on the left.
Yeah, and I'm still not seeing that the center for Arizona is a free agent.
Then it must have been a trade that they were talking about then. I believe it was Woodward Sports that put it out. But whoever it was, he was definitely not the top end, but I think he was ranked within the top 10.
Yeah, PFF had him 15th. That they're not gospel. I'm not telling you that he's 15th, but there would be familiarity. The name came up from a phone call on our show yesterday too. Unless he's cut, he's not actively a free agent. McGovern's the other name we brought up. McGovern was part of that Bills run game that was lethal this season, that paved the way for the NFL's leading rusher in James Cook. He's a free agent. Their O-line coach is retiring. They're going through a coaching change. There are names out there that you want to spend that money on the offensive line if you cut Taylor Decker.
Yeah.
All right. Boras is back at it, John.
Oh, it's so exhausting.
There are quotes from Scott Boras in the Detroit Free Press, and John, he says we're open to negotiating on Tarik Skubal.
Now he says that.
Because the Tigers contend they weren't willing to negotiate as the deadline approached for arbitration.
Right, yeah. If they're not going to return a phone call and negotiate before the arbitration filing, we know and everyone knows that the Tigers are file and trial. Like, they're not going to negotiate after they file for arbitration. And so now all of a sudden, after the filing, Scott Boras is going to come out and say, well, we're open to negotiating until the hearing happens. So he's just trying to paint the Tigers in as bad of a light as possible.
He is slimy, but he's also right. Like, is he painting the Tigers in a bad spot, a bad look? Or are they legitimately doing things poorly? Like this offseason as a backdrop where they've added very little of substance. It helps him paint them in a corner that they themselves have placed themselves in. Like, he's right to say they're using outdated comps like David Price. That's a 2015 deal. Go ahead and try to buy a house using 2015 comps. Go ahead and try to buy a car using what it cost in 2015. Let me know how that goes for you. If that's the way the Tigers approached arbitration, Scott Boras is right. As slimy and as annoying as he is with his Dr. Seuss rhymes, John, I don't think he's painting the Tigers into a corner. I think they've done it to themselves, and I think he's annoyingly right.
I think the Tigers are playing the hand that they've been dealt with Major League Baseball in regards to they've got a homegrown star that they've been patient with, that they've developed, that they've worked through arm events, and now that he is a two-time Cy Young winner, they know moving forward that they probably aren't going to pay him if he's going to get $35-40 million a year. Okay. This year, they want to try and prevent having to pay him right now $32 million a year.
Yes.
And so they're going through the process. It's just annoying to me that they're negotiating at the beginning of this, and you could argue, hey, 19-8, it's a low ball. They're going to start low. Scott Boras is going to come in high. You get a chance to negotiate. But he doesn't return phone calls until after they filed for arbitration.
If I'm Boras, though, I'm going, hold on. The last offer you made to me was woefully inadequate. Remember we were talking about the huge gap, hundreds of millions of dollars apart. And then now arbitration, we're the largest gap in the history of arbitration apart. You guys aren't serious. No, I'm not taking your phone call. If you want to talk about 2026 prices, phone is always open.
Okay, if you're negotiating with... And the difference is, well, we're willing, and I don't remember what the offer was from the Tigers because there's been so much he said, she said in this entire thing. But do I think that they should give him a 10-year contract for $400 million? No.
But
I don't, and I'm not going to. Oh, yes, he does. And so
that we're not negotiating on the same planet. So
no.
So I'm always willing to negotiate if you're going to live on planet Earth. That's what Skubal's value is.
That's what Skubal's value is for 3 or 4 teams.
Those teams
not
are
what
in the
his
league.
value is for the Detroit Tigers. So, and if you're not able to play or negotiate on the same planet, I get that. But I don't want them to hamstring themselves by signing him to a 10-year contract for $400 million. So trade him. Send him off. I don't care.
John, it's perfect that you said that because that is our question. Do you want the Tigers to re-engage with Boras, who says, hey, we're open to negotiating still? Or do you just want them to trade him because they're in a terrible spot and it's making the most of a bad situation? Here's Buster Olney, baseball insider, talking about how the possibility of trading Tarik Skubal is becoming more real. So that's the camp you're in. It's the camp I'm in. Look, they're not going to win this negotiation with Boras. I think Boras is on the right side of this. He's got his comps. He's got the arbitration process down. He's won this game before. The Tigers aren't going to win this game.
Well, they may win arbitration.
Yeah.
But they're not going to win the negotiation to keep Tarik Skubal and pay him what Scott Boras will be able to get from possibly 4 or 5 other teams.
So, like, if you're Scott Harris, I'm not mad at you if you trade Tarik Skubal. And I know Tiger fans would be upset losing a star player, but I think at this point, everybody kind of gets the barrel you're over. Get the best return you can get and move on. To Buster Olney's point, it's not like the American League Central's murderer's row. You can take a minor step, quote, back and still be like the Brewers, who were able to weather losing Corbin Burns and in short order still be a damn good baseball team. Like, if you don't think Skubal is the team, pivot, move on, trade, and reset.
And he's 100% right. Are they more likely to win their division or to make a run in the playoffs with Tarik Skubal this year? Certainly. No one's going to argue that. But it's also a division that you might still be able to win without Tarik Skubal. I don't know what that looks like because I don't know who you're getting in return. What are you doing to solidify your pitching staff without Tarik Skubal?
Room on the phones. Want to hear from you guys. Plus a few more details on how this showdown is going to go between the Tigers and Skubal. 97.1.